Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Wednesday. I hope the day is going well wherever you're watching or listening to this round the world. Thank you, as always, for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On a match day, of course, Arsenal kicking off their Carabao Cup campaign a little bit later on with a trip to Port Vale. I tell you what, I really, really want to win this competition this season. I can't believe it's been 1993 since we last won the League Cup. That is crazy, especially when you consider the success we've had since then and the eras that we've had, especially under Arsene Wenger. We've never won this competition since 1993. I was there at Wembley when we beat Sheffield Wednesday. It's mad to me to think that was the last time we got our hands on that trophy. So I want to win it this year, really, really do. And how nice would it be in February or end of February, whenever it is, to have that trophy already safely tucked away in the trophy cabinet. So we're going to talk about Port Vale in today's show. We'll look what Mikel's been saying ahead of that game, its press conference that he had yesterday evening at London Colney. Look at what he's been saying about injuries, some interesting updates on, obviously, the bad news about Noni Madueke, although I have to say I thought Mikel sounded pretty positive on that injury. So we'll look at what he's had to say there. On Hincapie, doesn't look like he's going to be playing today. Well, he's not going to be playing according to Mikel Arteta today anyway because of injury, which is a real shame. Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, all that sort of stuff. I'll give my predicted 11, which I imagine is going to be totally wrong, but sod it, let's have a go. And you guys have been getting in touch saying, well, what you'd be doing tonight in terms of the starting 11 as well. So let's get started, shall we? We'll go over the latest team news ahead of today's game first of all. So Noni Madueke was obviously the big news yesterday. David Ornstein reported in the morning could be out for up to 2 months with this knee injury that he picked up in the game against Man City at the weekend. So this was Mikel's first chance to speak to the media and go into a little bit more detail on it. And this is what he had to say. I thought it sounded pretty positive, I have to say. So he said, yes, it looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks. We don't know yet how long exactly. We're probably going to have another scan with him next week again. He felt something at the beginning of the match. He tried to carry on, and at halftime he was too sore. So let's see on if it is going to be weeks rather than months. Mikel said, we hope so. As I said, we need to scan him again to see the real extent of the injury, but it doesn't look too bad. So that sounds quite positive, I think. You know, maybe it won't be 2 months. Maybe it will be a little bit less than that. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, he was then asked, how disappointing is it for Noni for something like this to happen so soon into his Arsenal career because he'd started so well. And Mikel said, look, he was gutted, obviously. Very disappointing to see because he was in such a good state. He looked a real threat. He was getting some consistency, some flow into the team, and he looked like a real threat. So it's a big miss for us. So that's what he had to say about Madueke. Obviously, Madueke not going to be playing today, not going to be playing for a while, unfortunately. In terms of potentially who could play today, Piero Hincapie, I guess we figured this would be the game where he'd get his first start for Arsenal. That's not going to happen. He's got an injury, which is a real shame. Obviously, Mikel said he picked up a little groin injury. We'll have to assess him again in the next few days to see how it goes. There's been a change of load for him, and he didn't really have a pre-season after the surgery that he had. Didn't know he had surgery. And we'll see in the next week or so how he is. So that rules him out of tonight's game, obviously, if they're going to see in the next week or so how he is. He was asked if it's going to be a time frame, could it be weeks or months? And he kind of laughed at that and said, oh, no. I think it will be a short time. So that sounds good. It's not going to be a long one. It's a shame for Hincapie, though, because you figured this was the game he was going to play. And it's a shame for Arsenal because you imagine Gabriel's probably going to have to play at centre-back now with Hincapie out, which is not ideal. You'd rather he could put his feet up for this one, especially that game at St James's Park to come this weekend. On Kai Havertz, he said, look, with Kai, we know that it will be months with him. I don't know if it can be weeks yet. You never know because this is Kai and he's a different specimen. We really miss him. Hopefully he'll be back and back for the long term as well. So it's very important to look after that knee. So far he's progressing pretty well. And then on Martin Odegaard, he said, no, he doesn't need surgery. He's totally fine. He's already been training and it'll be a matter of days, I think. So that's a boost. Already been training. You would suggest if this comes too soon for him, which you imagine it will, if he's already in training, then in Newcastle this weekend on Sunday, you would imagine feels like a certainty he should be fit for that one. I know he was close to making it last weekend, so you would imagine he's going to be fit for St James's Park if he's already in training. So that sounds like a boost for him, first of all, but for Arsenal and for Arteta as well. He was pressed further on the injuries, saying, look, is it Is this just bad luck? Can it just be bad luck when it was a story of your season last season? You've lost a player to injury in every game you've played so far this season. Is there more you can do as a club, as a medical staff, to sort of protect? It can't just be about bad luck. And he said, we've looked at everything. The one with Noni is bad luck. It's a very unfortunate incident. With Kai, it was something similar. Ben, similar. Martin Odegaard, same as all the guys that have been out, very similar, because he damaged his shoulder twice during the same action on the floor, which is very unlikely to happen. With Bukayo, it was more of a muscular injury. With the hamstring, maybe that is something to look more in depth, and we absolutely did that. We tried to keep that as low as possible. That's what we're trying to do. And they will. I know it's frustrating. Obviously, it's really, really frustrating to lose these players. And I get the sort of, is there more the club can do? Because you think, yeah. But from what I know about Arsenal and how detailed I am, and certainly from what I know about Arteta and how detailed he is, and how much emphasis he puts on player availability, they will be doing every little bit of detail and analysis they can to try and prevent these injuries. Obviously, it hasn't worked very well in the last 18 months. It had been working well up to that point, but it hasn't worked very well the last 18 months. So, they definitely do all they can. Whether there's something they have to look into in terms of training, who knows? You would imagine they're doing that because they want their players available. They don't want to lose their players. So if there's something they can do, if there's something they can tweak in training that the science is telling them they should tweak, they would surely do it. It does feel a little bit more like bad luck to me. I mean, the Madueke one's a prime example. The Odegaard one is a prime example of that as well. On Saka and whether he needs to be eased back in, Mikel said he needs minutes and he's demanding them as well. Obviously, when he's been out for a while, you just need to get in the rhythm. You need to get that confidence on the pitch and repeat actions and exposure. We will do that gradually because he's been out for a while, but I like what I saw the other day when he came on. I got a feeling he's going to start tonight, Bukayo Saka. I thought before the game at the weekend, I figured he'd play about 20 minutes against City, and then I always thought in my head that he would start this one. The fact that he got 45 minutes, well, sort of 52 minutes, whatever it was of injury time at the weekend, made me think, actually, probably doesn't need to start this one now. But now we're sort of here on match day. I got a feeling he might play 60 minutes and then Daumann come on after that. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Bukayo Saka plays this game. I mean, he does need minutes, he does need sharpness, but like Mikel says, you've got to balance it out. And can you imagine if Bukayo Saka got injured playing against Port Vale straight after Noni Madueke got injured? So if my hunch is right and he plays him, I think we're all going to be watching like that. But he might go with Max Daumann. Of course, it's impossible to get into Arteta's head really when it comes to these team selections. So this is my predicted 11 for tonight's game. This is really hard to do. Obviously, he's going to make so many changes, so it's really hard to do. There's no way I'm going to get this right. I'll give myself a massive brownie point if I get this one right. So he talked up Kepa in the press conference, so Kepa's definitely going to start, no doubt about that. He also spoke about Lewis Skelly, and so he's going to be starting. So I've gone Kepa in goal. I've gone White if he's fit enough to start. White at right back. I've then gone Mosquera and Gabriel at the centre backs. And then Lewis Skelly as the left back. The midfield, I've got Norgard as a sort of in the Zubimendi role for this one, which I'm pretty certain he'll play in there. And then I've gone Ethan and Marino as the two midfielders ahead of him. And then I've gone Saka, Trossard and Martinelli as the forward line. So Trossard playing as the striker. Mikel was asked about Gabby playing sort of on the right yesterday as well. And he said, look, obviously they're all going to play in these different positions, but... And there is a good argument maybe to play Martinelli as a striker tonight, but I feel out of the two, he'll probably play Leo over Martinelli. I mean, who knows? He could even play Marino up top as a striker because he's not. I'd be stunned if he played Gyökeres. Gyökeres needs a bit of a break because he's certainly going to play at St James's Park. So there are options. It's really hard to actually get this spot on a predicted 11 for a game like that. But that's what I've gone for tonight. So Kepa, White, Mosquera, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, Norgard, Ranieri, Marino, Saka, Trossard and Martinelli. So let's run through some what you guys have been saying. Max says, for Port Vale, if Hincapie is healthy, obviously you did this before the Hincapie news, so you've got Hincapie at left back. But if he's not healthy, obviously you've done two different selections. So the one we'll read the second one, Max, because Hincapie obviously is not healthy. You've gone Kepa, White, Mosquera, Gabby, MLS, Nwaneri, Norgard, Marino, Dowman, Trossard and Eze. You've put Saka and Nichols on for Dowman and White around the 60-minute mark. That guy B says Port Vale. I'm thinking the following: Kepa, White, Mosquera, Saliba, MLS, Nwaneri, Norgard and Marino, Dowman, Gyökeres and Trossard. And you add that you're picking Gyökeres specifically because this is a type of opposition that will continue to build his confidence and allow the team to feel more comfortable playing the more risky ball, basically treating this as a session to get comfortable, sending the ball forward to him. Angry Pacifist has said, my team for Port Vale would still have a core spine of the regular starters. So Kepa, White, Mosquera, Gabriel, MLS, then Norgard, Marino, Nwaneri, with Saka starting on the right, needs to build fitness for Newcastle, Trossard up front and Martinelli on the left. Dowman to come on, but maybe not start for me. Jackson says, the Madueke injury, wow, sounds like we are cursed. Against Port Vale, I would go Kepa, White, Gabriel, Mosquera, MLS, Norgard, Marino, Nwaneri, Trossard, Martinelli at 9, Eze, you'd sub Saka on at 60 minutes. Have as much creativity in the team as possible. A couple more now before I wrap this one up. Pete says, got to rest everyone for Port Vale considering the mountain injury list. My 11 would be Kepa, White, Mosquera, Salmon. If Hincapie is not fit, well, Salmon's playing last night, for the in the trophy game, so I don't think he's going to be involved in that. So no Salmon. You got MLS, Norgard, Marino, Nwaneri, Dowman, Martinelli as the striker, Trossard, another one there with a shout for Martinelli as the striker. John says, I'm going with this lineup for tomorrow. Obviously, you wrote this yesterday. Kepa, White, Mosquera. You've gone Hincapie, but obviously he's not going to be fit. MLS, Zubimendi, Norgard, Rice, Martinelli, Gyökeres and Eze. I doubt Arteta will make many changes, but this lineup should be plenty for us to win at Port Vale. And TBC UK says Kepa, White, Mosquera. Another one saying Hincapie, MLS, Norgard, Nwaneri, Marino, Dowman, Trossard and Martinelli. Some interesting stuff from Mikel on Dowman yesterday in the press conference in terms of the sort of balancing act that he's got now from being used to playing a lot of football to now suddenly being a first team squad member and not playing all the time. So it's like balancing act of getting used to it. But he said, look, we've got to do it really, really carefully, obviously, for him, for his family, everything like that, and make sure he develops. He said that's why we played him in the under-23s the other day. He got good minutes there, and he had got good minutes for England under 19s before that to make sure that he's in good preparation for when he plays for us. So some interesting stuff. Tom Canton asked him about what the players sort of were like with him, have been like with him, sort of how they react when he get nutmegged by 15-year-olds, stuff like that. I'll tell you, it was quite funny on it, actually, saying what you should have seen last year when he was 14 and he was doing stuff to him. He said it was initially they just kicked him, but now they all love him. They just want to give him a hug. Said he's a really, really nice guy. I mean, it's a big thing for him if he starts tonight. Obviously, like I said, I'm kind of feeling Saka might get the start, but if it is down when he does get a start for the first team tonight, it's a huge, huge moment for him. I'm sure he'll be fine. I don't think he'll be worried about the physicality. He's shown he can deal with that already. So, and I'm sure he'll get boosted up in the air. He's already got a target on his back. We saw that when he played for England the other day against Spain and the sort of kicking that he got there. But he can take that. It looks like he can take that. He'll just get up and keep going and keep going, at his fullback. And I think it'll be really, really exciting if we do get to see him a little bit later on today. And that is it from me this morning, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it as always. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, to go over a really positive, nice Arsenal win with no injuries, please. Let's have a break from injuries. Footballing gods, injury gods, wherever you are. Just no injuries tonight, please. Thanks for watching, everyone. Speak to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.